Well, I spoke with Dennis Kucinich about it the other day. I thought it seemed that he was trying to shame them into doing something along these lines. How do you explain this, though? I mean, that's the part that I don't understand. They appear to want to do it, but they don't really want to do it. At the heart of it, what's the calculus for this kind of cynicism?
Boy, I don't know, Ian. You would have to find somebody who is better at psychology than me. But, Dennis Kucinich is doing what we asked all along, which is saying, you have to do something in this bill. And his vote now, they need it. So his vote matters. And Dennis is doing the right thing. He's saying, no, I'm not going to vote for this. I'm going to leverage my vote until you actually try and do something to protect people in this bill, because it basically just empowers these predatory companies to take money, huge amounts of subsidies, and then spend it to empower themselves even more on Capitol Hill. And so now we've got Move On demonstrating against Dennis Kucinich in Ohio, saying he needs to vote for this bill. I mean, how did the world get that turned upside down?
Mm-hmm. Do you have a minute I can play the interview I did with Dennis?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's go to that. I interviewed him, I think it was Wednesday of last week, and then he called back. So let's play that where he really makes it, I think, the very case we're talking about. I'm speaking with Congressman Dennis Kucinich, who has represented Ohio's 10th congressional district since 1996 and ran for president as a Democrat in the last election. Just to bring the audience up to date on these arcane parliamentary maneuvers, at this point you're at the center of a drama over the health care vote, but the vote has to be taken on the Senate bill, does it not? And there's no room for change, you just have to vote it as is?
That's essentially right.
And you've essentially said, without the public option, you're not going to vote.
Well, I said that, if it had a public option, I could support it. But it's up to the White House to make that change.
But there's nothing that you or any other congressman can do to this bill but vote for it. If you vote against it, doesn't that stop the entire process?
Well, the process is one that is flawed in that it eliminated any hope that consumers would have to be able to keep premiums low. One of the reasons why you have 47 million Americans without any health care is that the premiums are too high. People can't afford health insurance. So if people are required to buy private insurance, but you don't have any control over premiums, which have increased by double digits for 5 consecutive years.
And hello again, I'm Ian Masters, and joining us live is Congressman Dennis Kucinich. And we had a brief conversation a minute ago, and we talked about the procedures that are going on with the vote and how everybody had to vote for the Senate bill as is, and you talked about how it was up to the White House to improve the bill before you're going to vote for it. Could you just basically restate that position, since a lot of people are wondering, if you only get one bite at the apple, it kills it if you don't vote for the Senate bill, surely.
Well, remember, the White House fashioned this. The White House decided to take a public option out of the bill after I voted for it in committee. They took out of the bill an amendment that would have protected the rights to states to have single payer free of legal attack by insurance companies. Now, if the White House wants to find a way to put the public option back in the bill and put back in the bill a protection for states that want to pursue single payer but are worried about lawsuits by insurance companies, there's plenty of time to talk. I've always been open to compromise because I felt that we want to take a step towards getting health care. But if all we're going to do is set up the insurance companies with a more entrenched monopoly, that's not a very good idea.
So is this to say that you're not going to vote for the Senate bill, which will kill it, or you're going to vote for the Senate bill and then fix it afterwards?
Well, maybe they'll have a plan to fix it.
I see.
I'm all ears. I want to see what they want to do, but I haven't seen any movement on the part of the White House yet. But if it's down to a single vote, I think they'll find a way to bring a public option back in and also to protect states that want to pursue single payer.
So you're not going to give up your leverage, and they have to deal.
Well, if it's down to a single vote, then I think that I have a responsibility on behalf of all those people who want to see a public option to help the White House cross that divide.
So you obviously come under a lot of criticism. I'm sure you're aware, Marcus Miletus of the Daily Cost, Talking Points members, and others. Some have described you as the Ralph Nader of healthcare. How do you react to that?
Well, if being the Ralph Nader of healthcare means that I'm against consumer fraud and against monopolies, that's okay. But if being the Ralph Nader of healthcare means that scuttling the Democratic Party. That's not true. I'm inside the party. I represent a voice in the party that has helped to make health care an issue in 3 successive Democratic platform committees and 2 national campaigns. And you know, I've put down a marker with John Conyers, H.R. 676, Medicare for All. I mean, I've done all this inside the Democratic Party. So I haven't gone outside the party, and the party still has a chance to be able to deliver to the American people a health care bill that would be worthy of broader support.
Well, you know, every day another senator joins in the public option. We're up to about 40 now.
Well, that's it. There's a lesson there.
Something's happening.
Moving in the right direction.
Something's happening.
Yeah. Something's happening, but if I cave in without any public option, that could very well kill any hopes of keeping it alive in the Senate. Because if it's down to 1 vote, and that vote is gone, then the senators. All these senators that are lining up by the dozens now, suddenly they aren't as important. So, you know, I think there's a role to play here to continue to try to get the best bill possible, and we'll see how the White House works on it.
Right. So it's premature to suggest this is a case of the perfect being the enemy of the good.
In Washington, nothing is perfect, and not everything is good.
Okay. Well, I thank you for coming back to clarify that, because I wanted to get your side of the story here.
And it's great talking with you, and let's talk again as we get closer to a vote. Okay.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
And hello again, I'm Ian Masters. That was an interview I did on Wednesday of last week with Dennis Kucinich. I'm speaking with Jane Hamsher. And Jane, you just got through before we played that clip to clarify exactly where Kucinich stands, since he's getting slammed by the Daily Kos and others. You're saying now that Move On is lined up against him in Ohio?
Yeah, I find it odd that when it's down to Joe Lieberman's 1 vote, everybody shrugs their shoulders and says, oh, well, we just have to write the bill that Joe wants and give it to him, because what can you do? 1 vote. And when it's Dennis Kucinich's 1 vote that represents what 80% of the American people want, it's, oh, well, let's crush Dennis Kucinich so that we can give Joe Lieberman everything he wants. I mean, somehow the argument keeps switching to make sure that the sort of corrupt deal that the White House did with the pharmaceutical companies gets passed no matter what. And I think Dennis is doing the exact right thing. This is what he is supposed to be doing at this point in time. He's representing what the rest of the country wants. He's doing what politicians are supposed to do. And the shocking thing is that the liberal infrastructure is lining up against him for doing what they said should be done last year. We all ran a campaign when 65 members of Congress said that they would vote against any bill that doesn't have a public option. All of us, move on down, did a fundraiser for these people who signed this letter. We raised $430,000, including Dennis Kucinich. So now Dennis Kucinich is doing it, and they're trying to crush him? That is incoherent.